Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to make a painted background for your orca whale. Um, if you don't have tempera or acrylic paint at home, that's okay. You can just do your background with whatever that you have. And that might mean that you don't cut yours out, you just do your background right on this paper. And you can just make it look like what we're going to do is we're going to make it look like a sunset in the background in your sky and then water underneath. So it's going to look like your orca's jumping out of the water. So watch how we do our background and then you can fill yours in with markers or crayons or whatever you have at home. If you do have paint at home, you can get a second piece of paper and we're going to cut our orcas and glue them over the top once we're done painting. So if you have blue, I just poured out some blue, a light blue and a dark blue, a little bit of white and a little bit of pink. You can use whatever colors you want for your sunset. Those are just the colors that I want to use. I'm going to start by using my pink and I'm just going to draw a line across my paper a little bit more than halfway above. I can mix in a teeny bit of water to help blend my lines. I don't want any of these fuzzies to show up when I'm done, so I want to make sure I'm using a generous amount of paint on my brush so that when I'm painting across, it's a nice crisp line. Once you have that line going on, you want to make sure that you're working kind of quick because you're going to use something called a wet on wet. That means you're going to take just some blue paint and start painting right above that pink line. And as you're painting, you're going to see that it starts to blend together. If you want to, you can take a quick rinse of your brush, dry, doesn't have to be completely clean, and add a little bit more of your pink or whatever color you're using, and come back in and blend it up into the blue so you don't lose all of your pink. Once you have that set, I'm going to start to add some white to this. I'm going to brighten up my sky a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and add quite a bit of white up here. I can blend my white down into what I've made so far. And I'm just going to keep going. I want to make sure my whole sky is filled in. Remember, you want to do this kind of quick because you want all your colors to be wet as you're mixing them together. If they're not wet anymore, then they won't blend. So if that happens, that's okay. You can just go back in and add another layer of paint over the top so it blends how you want it to blend. I'm going to add a generous amount of white right here to the middle. And I'm going to go ahead and get some more blue on my brush and blend some more blue into the top part of my sky. It's going to be pretty simple. I'm not doing anything super complicated. If you want to go in and add more details to your sky, you can go for it. Like if you know how to paint clouds and you want to paint some clouds, go ahead. If you want to add other details, go for it. I'm going to just take a little bit more white and blend back in a little. And I have my sky. You want to make sure that you're painted all the way to the edges. Okay. Once you have that all set, I'm going to get my brush really clean. And for this part, I want to use some darker blue. So if you don't have a darker shade of blue paint, you can always add just a teeny bit of black into the blue that you do have. Or sometimes mixing a little bit of brown will help make it darker. But I'm going to use some of my really dark blue and some of my other blue that I was using. And I'm just going to go in with my really dark blue. And I want to make sure that it makes a nice crisp line and overlaps that sunset. This is my water right there. And as I'm painting, I can go in and add more of my other blue and blend those together to make more interesting shades of blue down here. If you want to blend in some of that pink or whatever color you're using also to make a nice little reflection in your sunset, like what I'm doing right there, you can do that. And you don't even have to worry about blending it all in. You can just let it sit on top. And you're just going to continue all of this until your whole paper is completely covered with your paint. Once you have all of this filled in, we are going to add some splash to our pictures. And I thought a fun way to add some splash would be to just do a teeny tiny bit of splatter. But please be mindful where you are in your house, if you are in your house, where you're doing the splatter. Maybe you need to put some newspaper down. Maybe you need to go outside to do this part. Make sure you're being careful. You want a nice clean brush. And you can go ahead and mix just like a brush full. So I'm going to dip my brush in my water and not dry it off. Mix a brush full into that white that you have left over on your painting. And for this, your brush is just going to, ready, you're going to take your finger and you're going to let it splatter on your paper. Just like that. And this is just gonna sort of get the effect that your killer whale is coming up out of the water. If you want to paint on where your orca is jumping out of, you can paint on that splash. If you want to just paint some water drops coming up, you can do that instead of splattering. But I just thought that'd be a fun addition there. So you're gonna let this dry. While it's drying, you can get working on cutting out your orca. If you didn't color your orca black last time, you can do that before you cut it out. It's a little bit easier to color the edges if it isn't cut out. And you're just going to carefully cut it out. Make sure that you have a black little outline there where the white part is, so you get that to show up really well on your painting. And once you're painting, or once you have your orca cut out, and once your painting is completely dry, you can glue this on or tape it on or do whatever. Or maybe you're deciding that you love your painting and you don't want to attach your orca on there. That's okay. You can just kind of set your orca on there while you take your photo. You can take your photo and post that in Artsonia or in Google Classroom. So let's see. I'm almost done cutting mine out. I'm trying to do a nice careful job turning my paper as I go. Once you have it completely cut out, make sure you're cleaning up after yourself. Throw away all those paper scraps. Make sure you clean out your paintbrush. Clean out everything. All right, I have my orca. I'll give you an idea of what he'll look like when he's glued on there. Oh, I can't wait to see these. These are going to be so cool. All right, I hope you guys have fun with this. I can't wait to see them. Bye.